Hi everyone, welcome to the Knitting Den. This is episode number 138 and today is Tuesday, November 11th. I've had a few stops and starts this morning. I've taken video, said hi, had my cuppa, had my Kit Kat, and it just wasn't flowing. And I don't know how some of you just sit out in front of the camera and chat without editing everything. Sometimes I stumble, I scratch my nose, I don't know, I just have to sometimes stop and start. And I've done that, so I'm wiping the slate clean, I'm starting from scratch. So my name is Denise, I'm also known as Knitting Den on Ravelry and Instagram. If you're watching for the first time, welcome, thanks for joining us, and welcome back to everyone else. As I said, I've had my Kit Kat and my cuppa, and I hope you've got your drink too. I'm going to insert, if I do this edit this the right way, I'm going to insert some video now, which is what I showed you a few minutes ago. And it's kind of snowing a lot heavier now. So this is what I showed you a second ago. We've got snow, not much of it, but it's very cold out there. It was 11 degrees this morning when I took Kristen up to the bus stop, and that's Fahrenheit, so we're talking, what, -3 or 5, I'm not quite sure, degrees Celsius. So very, very cold, bitter cold as I would say. It really cuts through the bones if you're not wrapped up well enough. And I'm not sure if you can see, but it's actually snowing a little bit right now. Hold on, see if I can zoom in. And yes, I've got a Kit Kat in my mouth. Probably hard to see it falling, very, very fine snow, not big fluffy snow, snowdrops or anything. See. And here is down in the backyard, and way over in the distance you're not going to be able to see the Rockies this morning. Oh, you can see the snow, look. But on days like this it's very hazy and you can't really see anything over there. And this is how it's looking right now, so I need to turn the camera off and switch you around. Lots of snow right now, as you can see. Yeah, and if I pan you around, see it there. And oh, so I did just show you the mountains. Hang on, I'll just take you over here. I showed you the mountains a second ago, and you can't see a thing now. It's just totally white. The sky is white, full of snow, and I love it. Kiki's at school. I always wish she was home with me when it's weather like this. Hubby's home, he works from home. But yeah. And I think I might have also inserted a picture or a little video there of the deer that were out the back. One of these days, hopefully, you'll see them live on the show. But they've gone for now. So yeah, really, really snowing. I love it. I guess winter is here in Colorado, for sure, as they say. Let's get started on some introductions. I want to say hi especially to those that left a hello to me in the Ravelry group this week. And that is Hannah Rose Yarns, who is Hannah Rose in Ireland. Midwest Knitting, who is Chris in Nebraska. And not sure how you say this, G-Go Girl, G-G-O-W-G-U-R-L, and that's Imogen in Shetland. So, I'm not sure, is that Scotland? Your profile says Lanark, UK. But you say you're in Shetland now, and I always thought that was Scotland, so I'm not sure. But wherever you are, hope you're warm and cosy. And thanks for leaving messages, girls, and I hope you're checking out the video and watching today as well, or whenever you get the chance to watch. I also want to thank everyone for leaving comments on YouTube. I forget, in the beginning I didn't realise that comments were being left there, but I've since gone back and looked at them. I haven't replied to everybody's, but I do appreciate you leaving a comment there, and to everyone that leaves comments in the Ravelry group each week as well. Really appreciate that. You know I love to hear from you, so drop me a line or leave a message in the group after you've watched the show or the video or sat down with me. And I do try to respond. Sometimes I miss some when it gets busy, but for the majority of the times I try to respond directly back to you in the group if you've said hi to me there. Also, Sue asked a question, and I don't know if she PM'd me or if it was in the Ravelry group, but she was wondering when do you watch podcasts? So just leave a message. I'm not going to open up a special thread, but if, you know, Sue has got a lot of podcasts that she likes to watch, and she is finding that she doesn't have as much time to read, and that's the same with me. As I've mentioned quite a few times, I wish I had more time to read, but I like to knit and watch podcasts as well. So what do you do, and how do you manage your time like that, I guess? When do you watch podcasts? Just let us know in the thread this week, you know, pop when that's something to chat about, if you pop over there to say hi. As for me, I kind of watch podcasts in the late afternoon or early evening once I'm finished with my day. I come up here, as I mentioned before, and I like to knit, and that's when I'll watch a podcast or two. With the reading, some days I don't read at all, and other days I'm trying to deliberately pick up the book. I've started a new one, I'll get into that in book talk. So reading, yeah, it seems to take a back seat to everything else I do as well, which I need to change, because I do enjoy, you know, reading a book as well. But that's something that you can share with us if you like. Also, before we get started, all the prizes for Pinktober went out yesterday, except for 2. Waiting to hear from 2 of you. And yeah, I didn't realise, I forgot about the shipping. There was quite a lot of shipping involved, but that's okay, it's all done now. Let me grab this. I did mention last week that I was going to open up a thread for some fibre that the lovely Deb from Fondant Fibre has sent us. But I think I'm going to wait until after Christmas to open up a thread for that as a giveaway. Simply because, obviously, Christmas is coming and it's going to be busy. Sometimes I'm not going to go out. When the weather's like this, I do not go out and drive in it. And yeah, there's just a lot of shipping recently that I had to, you know, pay for. So I'll leave that till the new year, if that's okay. So let's get started with the knitting. I'm going to start with what left the den this week. And, as usual, going to twist and turn around. Last week, I think I was nearly finished. I think I was. I forget what I've stopped and what I've finished and what I've shown you. But this is my second Altheda hat, a pattern by Lindsay, who's Little Lippy You on Ravelry. And I've blocked it, and I did mention that I've used a cream yarn for the you know, alternate stitches, so you can see the pattern. The one I showed you the week or 2 before, here it is still nice, but I used the same yarn along the bottom for these stitches, and as much as I love the, you know, the variegated colours, this one, look at how different that is. It looks completely different with a, you know, not that colour as the alternate stitches. Now, don't know if you can tell, this one I checked the gauge and I had to go down to a size 4 needle. This one, This is for a spoilie, and I thought she might need a bigger size, so I just went with a 6. 4, US 4, US 6. There doesn't look much difference, does it? They look like big gloves. There's not that much difference in the size, I don't think. Considering I've gone, that's the 4, that's the 6. Tiny bit different. I'll try them both on, and hold on, I've got to let Boo out, so he wants to go out, and I've closed the bedroom door. Okay, so this was the one I did try on for you already. I don't think many hats suit me, because I like to push that down, but then look what happens to my bangs. And I don't like, I don't like not having my bangs. Sure, I don't like not having any hair here, so I tend to, you know, like to try it and keep a bit. This is why I don't wear hats much when I go out. But this was the 4. See, I'm not chopping my head off, am I? And I had mentioned I'm not quite sure about the top, but I think that's just the way it's supposed to be. And now that I've finished this one, this is a bigger size. This is the size 6 needles. And let's see if I can just start it off like that. It just looks, doesn't it look the same size? Or a tiny little bit bigger? I don't know. But anyway, there was this one left last week. This has left the den. It's getting ready to be packed up and sent off to my spoilie for my year-long knit-along projects. And before I forget, I was using in both of these the main colours, the variegated, was my Dancing Dog Dye Works slow-mo colourway. I've got this much left, and I also have a little bit of the matching yarn that was the mint, the mini mint colour, I think. I could probably get another hat out of this and use the cream yarn, but I think I might use this and do a toy sometime soon. I'll have to see what I can get out of that. I do have a little bit of yarn here that I can take out if I need it, because I was doing swatches. So that's how it knits up plain without any of the other pattern in the hat, you know, or the yarn through it. So, and that was in my Knit Run Dig bag, but then I'll have to find another project for that because I'm finished. And get the glasses on again, keep the hair up. No curls today, have you noticed? The other thing that left the den, you've seen these two before. I had pictures on Instagram this week as well. They're so cute. These are my owl puffs. As one of the projects for the year-long knit-along, we had to knit ornaments. So these are cute tree ornaments. And you have to knit at least 2. But I always had in mind that I wanted to do a 3rd one. And ta-da! Finally did the 3rd one. So the reason I've done him in cream is because this is red, obviously, you can see that, with a cream and green scarf. He's green with a cream and red scarf, and this is cream with the red and green scarf. So all 3 colours, there's 3 colours, and then there's, you know, they're all coordinating. So those are done. Aren't they cute? This is the Owl Puff pattern. It's a free pattern on Ravelry from Jenna Krupar, who is Retro Lemon. And a lot of the Owl Puffs that you see in her pattern was written, you change across here, you kind of change colours. But I didn't change colours, I just did a, you know, garter stitch edge kind of thing to differentiate between the body and the top of the head. So I've knit them all in the same colour. And I love them. I might have to do some for my own tree. So there they are, swinging around. That's what else left the den this week. Those snowflakes are getting a little fatter. So let's move into what's in the den. My sweater. And where's my huge big bag? Here it is. My Rainstorm Studio bag. And again, I just put on Instagram earlier this week that had done some frogging. Ooh, look at that. Tundra. Talk about the tundra with the weather like this. The Arctic. I am knitting from this book, this pattern, Luckiest Dear, and that's this variation. It's the same sweater pattern in this book, for those who haven't seen this in the previous week or so. It goes like this. You pick the sweater is the same, and you can pick different bottoms to the sweater and different necks to the sweater. So I am doing this one with buttons on the bottom and a cowl neck. You know, you could have things like a hoodie. So last week, I think it was last week, I showed you I had finished a sleeve. And I used a size 9 for this rib, and then I moved up to a size 10. But I'd already shown you this. The size 10, I got a gauge on the size 9, but I liked the, it was a bit too tight, so, as in the fabric was, not, you know, I was getting gauged, but I liked the looseness and the feel of this knit on a size 10. So I knit the size 10, but I went down to the smallest size because I thought it might end up too big. And then I cast on the body instead of, you know, casting on another sleeve. I cast on the body last week. I'm not sure if I even showed you it. I might not have started it till after I'd recorded. And I got this much done. I mean, just about up to my arms, where I would start doing the, you know, the raglan decreases. And it was knit in the round by then, so I was having a few doubts whether or not it would fit. I took it off the needles. I put some, you know, yarn through the stitches, and I actually blocked it because I was trying to stretch it, and I was like, oh, it's going to stretch really, you know, a lot, but just to make sure I wanted to block it, wet it, and I totally submerged it and squeezed it out, and I blocked it. I didn't pin it out, I just laid out and stretched it a bit, and when it dried it still wasn't big enough for me. It fit, but it fit, if you know what I mean, like fitted. I want a big baggy comfy sweater, which I kind of just feel like these look. I mean, the one I'm making definitely to me looks on her, you know, loose. Mine was like fitted across the boobs. That's just not what I want from this sweater. So I was really good. I'm getting used to just telling myself if it needs to be frogged, it has to be frogged. It's not worth going on and then having a sweater you'll never wear. So I pulled it all off. I'm still using size 10s. Actually, yeah. I didn't even cast on with the 9 for this and then move up to 10s. I'm doing the whole thing on 10s because I want it all loose. And I've gone up the next size, my size, the 36, I think. And I'm hoping it's going to be a lot bigger. You can't really see because it's only on a 24-inch circular right now. And it's knit flat. The first part of mine is knit flat so that you have the buttons come up here. And then once I get to 7 inches or so, however much I need to put like buttons here, I'll join it in the round. Excuse me. Ugh. I think I just sucked in a thread from it. Woo! I might have to edit that out. So yeah, once I get it joined in the round, I'll knit up, and hopefully this one will be a bit bigger. It should be. So that is what I was working on. As I mentioned last week, all of my committed knitting, you know, deadline stuff is all finished. Now I just have a deadline for shipping stuff out. So I can knit whatever I want, whenever I want. I do want to try and get this finished pretty quick. Obviously the weather is perfect for wearing it, so I'm going to concentrate on this in the next week probably. And the other thing that I was working on, let's see, excuse me, I showed you these last week. I didn't frog them. I showed you some socks. Now look, I've got a little bit more knit. But again, Dancing Dog Dye Works, I didn't tell you the yarn for that. I'll go into more detail next week because I still haven't got the ball band with me. This is Dancing Dog Dye Works Sock Fingering Weight Yarn Pumpkin Patch, and it's a 2-stripe. And I was dying to see what they were striping like. And I cast these on, and I wanted to use my carbons. I thought I'd do less stitches, and I was using a 2.5 US instead of a 2 or something. I get confused now what I've been doing. I know I changed to maybe I started with these. I was using turbos now, rocket turbos. It said size 1, but it's a slightly bigger size 1 because it doesn't fit through my size 1 gauge, you know, the needle gauge that I have. I said I was going to pull them out, but I didn't. What I decided to do, and you can see it, so these are going to get pulled out. I thought, if they're too wide, I'll go down a couple of stitches. But I don't like that you can see this. And they were still too large. These are my ones. These are the turbos. I didn't change them. I decided that they might fit hubby. So I said I would knit them for him. And they probably will they'll fit him, but I don't like what I did. I don't like this shape. I can see it, excuse me, I can see it more, I think, than you can. But I think you can see it here. So I think I'm going to pull out again. I'm not scared of ripping out now and starting over. I used to hate it, and I would deliberately ignore the fact that I didn't like it or it wasn't fitting, and I'd just carry on knitting. I am fine with pulling them out and starting afresh because they'll either be especially for hubby. I still think I'll use the. I think I'll go down to my usual ones, not the rocket ones at a turbo. But this sounds all very confusing. That's in my cute little Pooh bag. That is what I worked on this week. I did not. Where's the other? I didn't bring it. I don't know which bag it's in even now. Didn't bring over. It's not even there. I think it's on my shelf. I'm doing mittens, and I didn't work on them, so I'm not going to show them just yet. Before we move into knit along news, which is what the mittens are part of knit alongs. I just wanted to show you this. Am I making you dizzy? I need to, as well as get that sweater done, which is hopefully going to be a lot quicker knit than this, I do want to get back to knitting my iwi, as I like to call it. It's from Barocco, and this is the book for anyone that's, you know, watching for the first time or forgot that I had this on the needles. It's Barocco folio, and I'm doing it in a lovely, this is the Barocco folio. I'm doing it in a lovely teal colour. That looks a bit more bluey teal for you. It's a bit greenier teal. Maybe it's like that. It's all falling apart. I don't want to get knots in it. But I do want to get back to this because I've got a lot of this sweater done. Got the 3 parts of the 4-part back and front. And I'm knitting the 4th one. The 4th panel I've got is lacy, and then I'd have to do sleeves. But I do want to focus on that over the next few weeks, so works in progress might get a little bit boring. Who knows? Now, again, before we move into Cal's, I have a plop in my lovely Bakery Bears bag from Kay, who gifted me this sweet precious bag that I'm now using. I have a plop, and if you don't know what a plop is, I did not know what a plop was until last week, but I love it. Tilly from the Tilly Trout podcast is kind of new. I think a 5th episode is out today or yesterday. I just saw it today, which I'm looking forward to watching this afternoon. Tilly is just a sweetheart. She's in England, and talk about feeling like you just popped in for a cuppa. Oh, so nice to sit down and chat with her. So hi Tilly, I'm going to be chatting with you or knitting with you this afternoon. She mentioned the blankets that she is crocheting. I'm not sure if she's knitting one, but she is doing a crochet big project blanket. And she only allows herself 4 items on the needle, and she was counting one of the blankets, but somebody told her that if you've got a long-term project, you don't really need to count that as part of your whips on the needle. So I don't know if she called it or somebody else called it a plop, and that is a project in long-term ongoing progress. I think that's what she said. So I have a couple of plops, and they're both the same. They are the cabin blankets. One I haven't touched. I've only done one square, and it's in autumnal colours. You may remember if you're watching for the first time. Obviously you won't have seen it unless you watched all podcasts. I am also knitting a second one, which I've kept in this bag, and it's all one colour. If you remember, I finished a square. This is the first square of my second project, long-term project, my cabin blanket, log cabin blanket. I'm going to do this for my bed, and I wanted it all the same colour, but you can still see the stitches going the different ways. And what's great about knitting all one colour is you have no ends to sew in on the other side. Except, why do I have one there? Oh, that's the start. That's the start of the first square, and this is where I just finished the end square. So you've only got 2 ends to weave in. So that's my plop. I got this finished. I can get another one on the needles because it's really fabulous to just knit when you want something really easy to work on. I'm using, and this is really super soft, I'm using Hobby Lobby's I Love This Yarn, just the acrylic, and I do like this acrylic. I'm not a yarn snob, but I would probably say I'm an acrylic snob. There is some acrylics, Red Heart, don't want to say it, they're not good to use at all. I think some of their Red Heart's different labels are softer than others. The one I had that I'd bought a lot of was not, I don't know, I think I'm just going to donate it. I had a lot of cream coloured Red Heart yarn for a blanket, and it's just not good to knit with. It was hurting my hands. So it's very bright, but just a nice cream. I'm not sure if the colourway is called cream or ecru. I love this yarn. Look, I've actually got the ball band in here with me. Ivory. It's actually ivory. So I worked on that and finished one square. I will get another one on the needles. And this is a fabulous, perfect bag right now with the snow coming down. Oh, sorry, Bind. Look at the Bind. You can see her, can't you? There she is. Boo left the room. Boo has left the building. Bindi won't go anywhere without me. All right. Sorry, up and down, up and down. Okay, so knit-alongs. I'm going to just run and get my mitten. Hang on. So in my knot bag, I need to have some more of these. I love them. Love, love, love. Japanese knot bag that I made. I have, which I showed last week. This is yarn, and I don't know who the maker is. I got it at Esther's. Thick and thin, kind of hand spun. I don't know if it must be hand spun. It looks hand spun, really. I just know it's wool and viscose. I don't know who the dyer or the person that sold it is. Her label's not on there, or I didn't have a tag on it. And I don't think I did. Oh, I did 2 rows. I think I did the next cable. I'm sticking with it. I wasn't quite sure if I liked the way this was knitting up. It's quite, I was going to say quite loose, but just looks quite uneven stitches. I guess that's what you get with thick and thin. These are, the pattern is Bella's Mittens, the free pattern on Ravelry. And I'm just going to do a smaller version of them. Need to get on with them too, because I think that would be really nice to wear right about now. I get to use my carbons, and I think I cast on with a US 5. Yeah. So, haven't worked on them yet though, or this week, except for one row I think. That is for, I'm trying to get that done, I'll probably not get done, but I'm joining in with Danny's knit along, and that's Danny from the Little Bobbins Knits podcast. It's her first knit along. So if you haven't watched Danny's podcast, do go over and check that out. Excuse me. I am going to, as I'm chatting, I have already made some notes. I'm going to write down the things I want to link to or give you notes about, because if I don't do that, I don't, excuse me, I don't get to add anything to the show notes. Something caught in my throat. Now, I've put down spinning, but I forgot to bring it up after I showed you my finished spinning last week, which I can't see it, so I won't show it again. I did get started on my poonies from Deb, again from Fondant Fibre. I'll show you them next week. I am making the effort to at least sit 10 minutes here and there during the day. Say, like, if I'm waiting for a pot of potatoes or something to boil, I'll sit down for those 10 minutes while they're cooking, and I'll spin. I was going to say I'll sew. I'll spin. So I'm trying my best to get some done, and making a little progress. I just forgot to bring the spool up with me. I was going to bring that to show you. So that jumps into show and tell. And oh yeah, it's behind me. I grab this lovely stuff. Last week when I showed you, I had bought stuff from my local yarn store. Or actually, I think it was the week before. I forgot. I picked up some yarn I wanted to buy, and I left it in her back room. She's just moved into some new premises in the town. Lots bigger. I put a picture, excuse me, I put a picture on Instagram. So you might see that at the end, or I was going to say it right now if I insert it, but I'll probably leave that till the end. You can have a look at a couple of pictures. But in her little previous shop, it was a little house, and there was like 3 rooms, different like small rooms. I left the yarn in there, and so she assumed after I'd left that I didn't want it, and I'd put it back on the shelf. But I did want it, so I'd called up and said, keep it for me. The reason I wanted it was because she told me it was the last colour that she had in the shop. And it's for this project. Botanical Knits 2. I already just knit the Forest Foliage shawl, but I used Malabrigo sock for that. This one, she had this on display. There was a knitted shawl in the shop on display, and she said she has the exact yarn that Alana used, the exact colour, which I'm always trying to do. If I can copy exactly, then sometimes I like to do that. A lot of the other times, it's just not cost effective. It's way, way, way too expensive for me. But I went down and bought what she'd put on hold for me. That's the colour, a little, quite true to colour I think, beautiful mauvey colour. It's Meadow yarn, and it's from the Fibre Company, and it is 40% merino, 25% baby llama, 20% silk and 15% linen. What a combination. Feels nice and soft, and the colourway is Lady's Slipper, or Lady Slipper. Lady Slipper. I don't know why. I never had slippers that colour, but it's really, really pretty. It doesn't look mauvey pink there now. Kind of coming across as a, I want to say a brown colour. It's so hard to tell what the different colours are, because it is variegated and it's got different kind of colours. Very hard to explain what colour that is. And then she has some more of this yarn on the shelf, but not this colour. This was the last skein of yarn in the correct colour for the leaves. And this is lace, and it is Shibu Shibu. I don't know what that is. Shibui? I don't know. Shibui knits. This colour's called Artichoke. And it's a, what's the content? 75% super baby alpaca and 30% fine merino wool. So I have the exact yarn to do this beautiful shawl, and I'm hopefully going to cast that on sometime soon. I need to obviously cake them up before I can get it on the needles. So that is show and tell, which brings us into moving along book talk. Okay, confession, I did not finish Patterns in the Sand by this Sally Goldenbaum, which was my second book in the series that we'd started a few months ago. I just was not picking it up. I'm going to have to wait till another time and place, maybe it's next spring or something, to get back into that series. So I did show you, twist and turn. I did show you a couple of books I was thinking of starting last week, and I have started one, and that's thanks to Brandy, who showed me a picture on Instagram. She has the book as well, and she said if I read it, she'll read with me. So I did decide on this, A Christmas Hope by Anne Perry. I want to say Anne Perry. I'm sure I've read some of her books, but I'm not sure which ones. And I think they are mystery. It's talking about some kind of the killer. Just barely started it, and to be honest, I wasn't even concentrating much when I was reading it. So I think all she's done is gone to a party at Christmas with her husband. But it's set in the I think it's, I don't know where it showed me, but I'm sure it's Victorian England, and I thought it was, it told you a year. But anyway, book talk, book reading. I started this, and this is where I was talking about earlier, when shall I read it? I got to start just picking up, half an hour at the end of the night, perhaps, in between the knitting, or after watching podcasts. I'll have to start picking some of that up. And also, I popped down to the local library, and I forgot who showed this. Was it Orky Lynn? Was it you, Lynn? Somebody showed a picture on Instagram of lots of books that got out of the library and said that they're ready to start making their puddings. Don't know if it was Christmas pudding or just puddings. And she had one of these. I saw one of these books, and I didn't realise there was even a book existed. But I ordered it from the library because it was not in my local one. It was in another local one, and they'll just, if I put a hold on it, it'll come in the next day or so. So I ran down to the library and I got this Downton Abbey cookbook, unofficial, but I had to have it and just look at some of the recipes. There's no pictures in it. It's just really all plain pages. A little bit of a, story or a bit of information about the recipes, or why, who would eat them and all that. And what I liked, it says from Lady Mary's crab canapes to Mrs. Patmore's Christmas pudding. So yes, there is Christmas pudding recipe in here, Michelle. Again, I'm not sure if I'll pick it, but I'll have to study it and see what the ingredients are. And there's also in here an English trifle, but I was thinking about doing that for my book club Christmas party. I was going to do 2 desserts, and one of them was going to be an English trifle or sherry trifle. This English trifle actually has no jelly in it. It says, Mrs. Patmore would know that true trifles such as this one do not contain jelly. I've always had jelly in my trifles, that's what soaks up the lady's fingers, the sponge. So I probably won't pick that recipe because it has to have jelly in for me as my English trifle. But that was fun to read through. I have just started it, and I saw this on my way out of the library, and I had to pick this up because it is the perfect soup weather, don't you think? And this is called Soup Night because, and the girl goes into all of these stories. There's actually neighbourhoods that do Soup Night. And they take turns and host an evening, and they make soups. Once a month they have a get-together at whichever neighbourhood. She's talking about a specific neighbourhood that her brother lived in, I think, and so that's why she got introduced to Soup Night. But what happens is the host or the hostess makes soups. I don't know how many. I haven't read fully about if there's any rules on it. But one of the rules is that the hostess doesn't have much cleaning up, so you take your own soup bowls along. I don't know. It's not just a recipe book. It's a specific evening. Battery's going low. Hold on. A specific evening where you go and get together with neighbours and try different soups. Hold on. I'm going to plug in my camera. So that was book talk. Let me get back to my notes. Because after book talk, we will move into a new section. What's in the kitchen, or what's in my kitchen? During this time of year especially, I tend to be in the kitchen trying or baking cookies or doing different things, making soups because of the weather, as I said. And I thought, not every week, but if I've been in the kitchen and I've tried something different or I've made something I thought I might share with you, I'll have a section in the kitchen, what's in the kitchen section. So this week in the kitchen, I made a vegetable or bean chilli. We're trying to, and hubby's mentioning this because I've tried in the past, but he always said he likes meat in every meal. And he's kind of changed his mind about that and would like to have some meals where we don't need the meat. So this week I found a recipe on All Recipes, and it was bean chilli. I've made bean chilies before, vegetarian chilli. So I made one this week and did some cornbread with it. I didn't take a picture. I wasn't in the kitchen showing you how to make it or anything. I'll probably just put a link to the recipe somewhere. What I did do in the kitchen, and I did take a video of earlier this morning for you, I was feeding my cake, my Christmas cake, and I took a little video. I did feed it last week. I'm trying to think. I fed it the first time last week, and this is the second time. I usually will try to feed it on a Sunday, but I left it this Sunday until I could show you this morning. So have a quick look at how I feed my cake. Here is my cake all wrapped up. It's double wrapped. I took foil off and parchment paper, and then there's more foil and the parchment paper that was in the cake tin. So I'm not sure if you'll be able to see. Oops. I have already poked holes in. Sorry. It's hard to see where the holes are sometimes because these are the currents, but this is a hole, this is a hole, there's one up here somewhere, this is a hole, and there's another hole. And I did feed this once since I made it last week, and I'm going to do it again now. I would normally do it on a Sunday, Hopefully you can see this. And I'm going to feed it again in the holes I already created. There's about 9 of them. 3 along the top, middle and bottom. Now, I don't know how much brandy is too much, but what I usually do is, there's the hole, just try to pour a little bit in each hole. Sometimes it just, it'll go on the top, but it still sinks in. And I usually do a tablespoon and a half, 2 tablespoons perhaps. Probably only a tablespoon as the weeks progress and it's getting moister. Is that a word? And so in a couple of weeks' time, or next week, I'll maybe poke different holes more in the centre here. And then after a couple of weeks, just add that last bit, I will turn it over and do do it from the other side as well for a couple of weeks until I'm ready to icing it, put the marzipan on. Sorry, my hands are going all over. So that's how I feed my cake. So that's my fruit cake for anyone who's wondering. It's what I call Christmas cake. It already smells delicious. And each week I will be putting a little tablespoon or 2 into the cake to soak through and keep it moist and taste wonderful. You can't taste brandy when you eat the Christmas cake. It's just very moist, and so I get a taste of all the yummy fruit and the molasses buttery taste in my cake. So that's what was going on in the kitchen this week. Now let's see what else there was. Girly chatter. There's not much in girly chatter because I find that I chat throughout the whole podcast. This week, are you ready for this? The countdown. 14 days to Kristen's birthday, which means there's 16 days to Thanksgiving here in the US. It's 2 days after Kiki's birthday this year. Thanksgiving is always on a Thursday, for those that are not over here. Which means, and I looked online for this morning as well, 43 days till Christmas. See? It's just here before you know it. It was 2 minutes ago I was saying, is it too early to talk about Christmas? Because we were in August and the weather was still warm. And it's hard to imagine, but some of you have still got 80-degree weather out there on the west or the east coast. Not the east coast, they're getting cold now. Texas, I think she's snoring. Texas definitely, not North Texas, but where I was near Austin, still very warm weather, 70s, sometimes 80 degrees. It is hard to imagine when we're already now getting snow, and this to me is normal for this time of year. But I've got to get organised and write lots of lists. I am managing to do the things I want to do because I'm not sewing, so that's good. As I mentioned earlier, I'm also hosting Book Club, the Christmas party. We don't read for December. I'm hosting the party here with a friend who is Michelle, who is my knitting friend. And I haven't mentioned anything about my little knitting group. There's only 3 of us. There was only 2 of us this week, me and Michelle. So we're hosting the Book Club together and we're combining our thoughts and doing a menu. I might get into that a little bit more in the coming weeks in Girly Chatter. I did not bring up what I wanted to show you, which was some little shot glasses, and they're not glass, they're plastic. But I have an idea. It's not my idea, but it's very popular right now to do desserts in individual pots, or little square pots, or little shooter glasses. There's lots of recipes and pictures on Pinterest if you're interested in seeing. And I bought some. Walmart has these in right now. I bought some from Amazon this week and they're coming tomorrow, I think. Little shooter glasses and mini spoons. And then I saw the ones that I'd previously saw months ago back in Walmart. So I might send the other ones from Amazon back because they're 3 times the price. Excuse me. So I'll show you them next week perhaps. Talk a little bit more about some yummy desserts and Pinterest. Also, I want to start doing some Christmas shopping online. I'm not going to go out much once the weather gets like this, and we've got like snow showers and icy weather for the rest of the week. So I got to do a little bit of shopping online from the comfort of my own home. Yeah, that's the way I was saying it. In my jammies sometimes. So that's what I'm planning on doing. And I'm sure most of you now, it's not too early to talk about Christmas, surely. I'm sure a lot of you are already planning your shopping, your gift list, and lots of things like that. So yeah, that is what I'll be doing. And I think with that said, I'm at the end of the show this week. Call it a show. I'm at the end of sitting down chatting with you. And the snow is still going outside. We've probably got an inch by now, but all right. End of the show. I will wrap it up and gather up and clear up my bedroom that everything's sitting behind me that I need to put away now. And I'll get this out to you hopefully later on this evening or early Wednesday morning. Hope you all have a fabulous week. Drop me a line. Get in the Ravelry group. Leave messages. It's just makes me smile to hear from you. And I hope you come back next week and join me in the knitting den. Bye guys.